Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Daf Samach Dalet Amud Aleph on the top, 2 lines down. We learned in the Mishnah that the southwest corner of the Mizbeach, the corner that everybody remembers, the corner that has the 2 drain pipes in the bottom, right over there, the southwest corner. There's 3 things you do below the red line, 3 things you do above the red line. So under the red line, you do the Chatas bird. You also do the Shirayim, and you do the Hagasha. Here, let's show all 3 of them. Chatas bird, boom. Okay, Hagasha. You have a mincha, you take it, and you touch that corner. Not the stuff that you did a kmitza with, everything else. And the Shirayim, we know very well. Oh, Givaldik. Those 3 things on the bottom of the Mizbeach. So that we learned yesterday, that we learned it from a mincha. Hagashos, and how do you know that you go close with the mincha, you touch the corner of the Mizbeach? The Chsiv v'gisha el pnei ha-Mizbeach. Pnei ha-Mizbeach, if you're looking at the Mizbeach, the ramp is the front of the Mizbeach. That's the face of the Mizbeach, and that's in the south, so we do it over there. Shi'arei Adam, the Chsiv v'es, kol Adam apor yishboch el yisoid ha-Mizbeach. But this is very important, because in that pasuk it also says, yishboch el yisoid ha-Mizbeach asher pesach oyel moyed. So it should be facing the Heichal, the Oyel Moed, the Ulam, and therefore we do it on the south side. Milamala. And what do you do on top of the red line? Nisuch Hamayim B'Hayayin. Here, the beautiful Nisuch Hayayin. You see how it comes out on the bottom? There's a little, like, faucet. And it comes out and it goes into the draining pipes that we learned that in the second Beis HaMikdash, they put drainage in the Mizbeach itself. In the first Beis HaMikdash, it fell over the wall. The wine went over the wall. I'm not sure, like, people ask me this, like, what's with all the blood and the wine all over the place, like on the walls and on the floor? It's like, it was a beautiful thing. And nobody scrubbed it down. Okay. Don't know exactly how it worked. So they used to pour the water on Sukkot, the yayin they do. Rabbi said, which korbanos do you do wine with? Rabbi, you remember? Shlomim and Oyla. Shlomim and Oyla. Anytime you bring Oyla, wine. Anytime you bring a Shlomim, wine. V'Oylas ha'oif, kishi rabo ba'mizrach. Oh, when there's an overflow, there's too much, there's traffic on the eastern side of the Mizbeach. Let's say I'm just grabbing this as a Mizbeach. This is the east side right over here. When there's too many, then you go over here to this side, and you do it over here. You don't want to go over here. This is too far away. We're going to explain right now. My time, oh, where's the Beis Hadeshen? There was a place on the floor in the bottom of the Azara, right next to the ramp, where every morning the kohen would take coals. We're going to see soon. He would first move the coals around a little bit, take from the dead coals, and pour it onto the floor of the Azara, and it would disappear, and we have the video. But notice how, when he gets down from the ramp, he has to walk about a third way up the ramp, like the distance of the ramp. In other words, 10 amma. There he's taking coals. He walks down the ramp. And then what? And then he just walks. Chaval, we don't see him walking. But you see, he's not at the edge of the ramp. He's not at the corner. He walked back towards the Mizbeach about 10 amma. 1/3. Yeah, this is, the kevish is, how long is the kevish, Rabbi Isai? 32. The kevish itself, 32. So he just walked about 10 amma, placed it down there. It's supposed to be 3 tvachim distance from the wall. So that's what you do with the deshen. That's every morning, the first thing in the morning, before you do any karbanas, that's what the kohen does. So what does that have to do with us? Why do you do the oila on the eastern corner, and then if you don't have room there, you go on the western corner? Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Boirei Kamo Gadol Koichan Shekoyhanim. The Koyhanim, they were very, very, very strong. How do I know? The lightest thing on a bird, birds in general, I don't know if you ever had the schus of lifting up like a dead pigeon off your porch, but they're extremely light. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to fly. The lightest thing in the bird is its feather and its crop, the mura. Sometimes the kohen has to throw it more than 60 feet. This not a machta shel kesef. Oh. He goes over here. This is really true Sadeshin. I think the other one that we showed from the tapuach in the middle. He takes coals over here. What? Oh, it was good? Okay. We had an argument yesterday in Shir. I said from logic, it doesn't make sense that you take the shovel and go all the way around the mizbeach like you have to do for everything else. So I just said it goes like this. And then Menachem Ates sent me. Yeah? That was right? That it's this way. Yeah? The Olam didn't like it. They said it goes around, and to me it didn't make sense. I don't know why. Like to take a shovel full of hot coals, go all the way around the mizbeach, it just didn't. And he said that's what they say. It's, you take it and you come right back down. Great. So that's the pathway. Okay. Nothing new. We said this already. Moving the coals from side to side. You know what I'm saying? He makes a little bit of a seder over there with the coals that were burning overnight. And he takes from the ones that are not lit anymore, the ones that died out, and he goes down. He comes down to the floor. Now he starts walking, like you see in this picture right over here. He walks in the opposite direction. He came down the ramp. Now he's retracing his feet, his footsteps, but on the bottom, going north. And he goes. It's on the east side of the ramp. That's the east side. You can see in there's even a compass here. And that's the east side of the ramp. How much? Ketzer amos. He goes about 10 amos, 20 feet. He gathers them, puts them on the floor. That's also not 100% accurate in our video. Maybe it means minimum 3 tvachim. Oh, this is all this for this point. This is the place where you put the feather. You throw the feather. Now think about it. The kohen at this point he does the oila on this corner. You see on the east side, southeast corner. So he has to take the feather and toss it over here. It's far. It's a longer distance than this base medrash, but it's not as far as from over here. From over here, it's 30 amma, the Gemara says, to go all the way across and land right over there. When they clean out the inner mizbeach, what do they do in the inner mizbeach? The ketores every day, twice a day. So there's a bunch of coals in there. Clean it out. And they have to sraifis apsilas. They have to burn the wicks. So they put it over there in that area, and it disappears. So now let's do the math. It's gishmak and math. If you don't like this stuff, it's going to be over in 2 minutes. But if yes. Here we go. The ramp, first of all, the length of the ramp we said is how long? 32. The width of the ramp is how much? 16. So the ramp only takes up half of the width of the mizbeach. The mizbeach is 32. The ramp is 16. 32 minus 16 is how much? 16. We're missing 16 amma. But the ramp is smack in the middle. So 16 divided by 2, because you take 8 amma for the right side of the ramp, 8 amma on the left side here. So I do it like this. From this point to the end of the mizbeach is 8 amma. From this point to the end of the mizbeach is 8 amma. That's how you divide the 16 that's left over. Now when the kohen stands up top over here, doing the avodah for the oila, he's actually 3 amas into the mizbeach. As we know, there's the bottom, there's the base, the soivev, and the carrot. So it's 3 amas. You have to take off the 8. So what are you left with? 5. So 5 plus 16 is how much? 21. So that's why we have 21 amma from where the kohen is standing to the end of the ramp. 16 plus 5 is 21. Now we have to do the other direction. From where the Beis Hadeshin is, so we have 32 amma. The ramp is 32 amma, but he just walked 10 amma up. So you take 10 amma off the 32. So it's 22. Plus where the kohen is standing, because he's standing a little back, so it's 23 amma. So Rashi does like a yeshivish kind of calculation here. He says, if one side is 23 and the other side is 21, let's make both sides 22. You take off 1 amma from here and you put it on the other place, it's 22 by 22. Rashi wants to get to a square because we have a yesod in Masechtas Sukkah, which is, it's good for like be'erach math. It's almost, the Gemara says, Kol amma, kol amsa biribua, amsa v'trei chumshei balachsoina. If you have a 1 by 1 square, so what's the distance on the diagonal? 1 2/5. 1 2/5. So if the diagonal will be 1 2/5, 1.4. So in Mela, if you have a square that's 22 by 22, so the diagonal is 22 times 1.4, or 1 2/5, which equals 30. 30.8. So Mela comes out that the kohen took it from that corner, and the diagonal to that place over there, which is really a little bit more because we have 3 tfachim distance. If it was on the wall of the kevesh, so it would be 30.8. It's now really 31. So that's the Gemara is going to ask right away. It's not 30, it's 31. Because if you do 30.8 plus the 3 tfachim is a half a amma. So it's more than 3.8. It's already 31 plus. So ask the Gemara, there's more than 31. It's more than 31? Says Gemara, Mokim Gavrili Chashiv. But if you take the area of the kohen himself, which is an amma, a person stands in an amma, a person has an amma area, remove that, so you're down to 30. Okay. New sugya, Rabbi Say. It says that everybody that goes, let's do this again. It was Givaldik. Very, very simple stuff, but it makes a big difference. Any avodah that you do on the Mizbeach, you start on the right side. So here we go. Here, he makes right turns. The entire time he's making right turns. And we explained over here, it looks like it's left turns. No, Ari. I explained it already. I explained it.
Down like this.
When you look at the Mizbeach, the first one is a right. But you continue making right turns. Why? Because when you hug the Mizbeach, this is the Mizbeach, yeah? If I'm standing this way, so I'll be making a left turn. You're right. But I'm not standing this way. I give respect to the Mizbeach. I'm going to be standing this way. And I constantly go this way. I'm leading with my right arm, so I'm making right turns. The whole time I'm making right turns. You weren't at that chair where I got up? I guess not. Okay. So you're making right turns. That's everything. Besides the 3 things. Did I not show that? Here we go. There are 3 things. The wine. Where do you pour the wine? On the top left corner. On the southwest corner, which is top left over here. Wine, water, and the oila sa'if. So take a look at it. He's going to be going on the left side of the ramp. People are going to give him looks. And he goes straight there, straight. The question is why? Why are these 3 things different? My time. Why are they different? Because I'm concerned, interesting. If you bring it through all the smoke that's going on in the Mizbeach from all the korbanos, the smoke will damage the wine. And you can't bring damaged wine to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because this oila bird might die before you get to the Malika from all the smoke. Reminu. Is it true that the smoke actually damages the wine? So this is a halacha about a kohen gadol. A regular kohen, if he wants to perform the avodah, you hear Rabbi? How is it? If you wanna do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, could you do the avodah? You have to go through a whole process of a raffle, of this, that. Then they decide who does the avodah. The Kohen Gadol, because he's the top, he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. So he decides he's going to do this oila, let's say, and the oila comes with wine. Maybe the Kohen Gadol is a little different. No. Where does he start? He starts in the corner that we're talking about the entire time. Right over there. That's the southeast corner, right? The one on top is southwest, the one on the bottom is southeast. That's where he starts. The Kitzer, he does like everybody else. And here, follow him. Now he's over there. Tzfanis Maravis, and finally gets to Maravis Droimus. Okay. And he has wine to pour. Now the question is, he just made this whole entire circle with wine. Isn't the wine going to get destroyed? And what's the answer? Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Hakafa Beregel. Hakafa Beregel, what does that mean? That he doesn't have the wine in his hand. He did the circle by foot. In other words, without anything in his hands. And then somebody passed him the wine. He's the Kohen Gadol. He has guys helping him. So another Kohen passed him the wine when he got to that southwest corner. Don't worry about it. The wine is perfect. The Samchdal Beis. We'll do that in a second. They give him, it says. They give him wine. What does it mean they give him wine? What it should have said in the Gemara is, they tell him, hey, pour the wine. No, they give him wine. What does it mean they give him wine? Because he didn't have the wine in his hand. He did the whole circle without the wine in his hand, so they have to give it to him. Shma mino. Torah Rabbanan. So the arrow on the bottom of the screen, that's Yamin. If you're facing let's go back over here. You see the little kohen on the bottom? This kohen, what side of the Mizbeach is he on? The right or the left? Right. The right. It's his right hand on the right side. So when he goes up, he goes on the right. Not like in London, like in New York. You go on the right side of the sidewalk. When he goes down to the opposite side of the Mizbeach, the left side. His left hand right now. If you want to know more specific, in Chicago they would say he goes up on the east side. And he goes down on the west side. If you're from New York, you have no idea what they're talking about. So that's why it says it both. Yamin and Smoil and Mizrach and Ma'ariv, fine. Besides, if you go for the wine and for the you go up on the left side of the Mizbech and come right back down on the same side. And then the Gemara says, Oilam derech yamin, v'yor derech yamin. Ask the Gemara, derech yamin, derech smalu. Why does it say that you go up on the right? You're going up on the left, and you go down on the left. Omer avina tni small. You're right. It's a mistake. You have to put in the word small. Rav Amar no. My yamin the mizbeach. Umay small the gavra. Basically, the question is what's your vantage point? The kohen right now, you see the little guy in the corner. It's his right and left. But if you're, let's say, the tapuach, that circle on the mizbeach, and you're looking down the ramp, so it's the reverse. It's like a mirror. He's looking down, so it's the mizbeach's right and the mizbeach's left, and it's the kohen's left and his right. It's just how you're looking at it. If you're standing on the bottom of the ramp looking upwards, it's your right and your left. If you're on the ramp looking downwards, it's the reverse, because you're looking in the opposite direction. And the Gemara says, it doesn't make sense. Just use one language. Say either refer to the person on the bottom of the ramp or the person on the top of the ramp. Or the Gavra, Kasha. Okay. Rava liked this more. Instead of saying there was a mistake in the Bryson, you have to say instead of Yamin, you write smile. He didn't like that. Let's change the nusach. It's better to have a question. Like, why don't you use the same language than saying that, we have to switch the lashon. So says the Mishnah, Chatas ha'oif ketzad loisenasis. If a person has to bring a chatas, bird. So we spoke about it. If a person can afford a regular chatas in certain situations, he brings a bird. Case of the Isanasis. Hayamoylek is Roisha Mimul Arpa. The Oiref is the back of the head, right over here. Mimul Arpa would mean lower down. In other words, the opposite side of where you shecht a chicken. Chicken you shecht in the front of the neck, and Malika, which is done with the long nail of the kayin, is in the back of the neck. Mimul Arpa means, this is not called Oiref, this part of the neck. The top part of the head is called Oiref. So Mimul Arpa means go lower down from to over here, and that's where it's done. Mimul Arpa. The Einoi Mavdil. And you don't separate the head. Now Rashi says it doesn't mean to separate the head. Let's see the pasuk. It says in the pasuk like this: like we just said, you should do malika in the back of the neck. And do not separate. So Rashi says it doesn't mean literally not to separate the head. It means don't sever both simanim. The kan and the veshet, the esophagus and the trachea. Since a bird, you could check by going through one. Go through one and do not go. You're not allowed to go through both simanim. And then you take the bird and you swing it towards the mizbeach. I think we have it actually. Here we go. Here's a chatos geschmack. It's a little bit of exaggeration of how much blood is there. Whoa. Sheyora Adam, if there's anything left over after that, it's hard to believe there's anything left over after that. Then you do this, you give it a good kvetch on the wall. When it comes to chatos, all the mizbeach receives, so to speak, to eat is the blood. And what do you do with the meat of the pigeon? The rest goes to the kohen. Okay, it said, you take the blood from the actual bird. Okay, it said, how you do it? You hold on, you make sure the head doesn't fall off. You don't have to hold the head, but you hold the head in the body, and you do as a Al-Kir HaMizbeach, it must be on the wall of the Mizbeach. What do we learn from this? V'lo Al-Kir HaKevesh. And Dafka the Mizbeach, the 32 Amma of the Mizbeach, and not the 32 Amma of the ramp. V'lo Al-Kir Heichal, and make sure you don't spray it on the Heichal. V'lo Al-Kir Ulam, it doesn't help you if you do it on the Ulam. Veze, what wall? Zekir Adachton, below the red line, like you see in this picture. Perhaps it's on the upper, above the red line. V'dino, and I can learn it from a simple Kal V'chomer. Listen to this Kal V'chomer. When it comes to an animal carbon, there's two animal carbonas. You have the chatas and the oila. What goes above the red line? What goes below the red line? The chatas goes above the red line. So when it comes to an animal, the animal carbon the chatas is more important than the oila. The chatas goes above the red line. So the Gemara says, then when it comes to the birds, shouldn't the chatas be more important than the oila? Where do we do an oila bird? Above the red line. So certainly the chatas bird should be above the red line. You take the chatas animal, you put it above the red line, whereas the oila is below the red line. But the bird oila, which is above the red line, and certainly the bird chatas should be above the red line. No, the blood that's left over should drip down to the mizbeach. And what does that mean? So says the Gemara, if you were to take the blood of the bird and squeeze it out on the upper wall, what are the chances the blood is going to drip down to the bottom base, like the Torah says? The Torah says it should be on the bottom base. Very little. Why? Because there's a ledge, there's a 1 amma ledge, and even if there's enough blood to get all the way down to the bottom, it's going to hit the ledge. That's how I know that you should start off on the bottom. As the Gemara of an avid meiloi, v'adin avid mitatoi. Maybe you should do both. Maybe you should do a little hazan on the top, and then the kvetch should be on the bottom. Omarava, and then you'll be able to everything. You don't have the whole situation here. Omarava miksiv yimatzah yimotziksiv. It doesn't say you should squeeze it on the bottom. It says it will drip down to the bottom. The only way that it could drip down on the bottom is if you start on the bottom. If you cheat and you give it a squeeze, okay, you can start from the bottom. But it says that it should by itself get to the bottom. So maybe I know that the whole thing starts on the bottom. The memela mashma. Okay. Omar Rav Zutra bar Tivi Omar Rav. Omar Rav Zutra bar Tivi Omar Rav. Ketzah Molkim Chadasoif. How does it look? How do you do Malika? So Ketzah Molkim Chadasoif. Oiches Gapa V'Shteitz Boys. These two fingers, the fingers closest to your index finger and your middle finger, the ones closest to your thumb, you grab the wings. Ushtei Reglaim V'Shteitz Boys. The pinky and the one next to the pinky, whatever it's called, grab its feet. So now you have your thumb available, and you grab the neck, the neck, and you pull it over your thumb, and it's nice and stretched out, and then you give a thing with your nail. Umolko. But in the Brisa it says tzipara milabar. The bird is on the outside. So now it's very similar. You see how the bird is on the inside of my hand, like this? So now we're going to put the bird on the outside. So we take his wings, and we pull the wings down, and we do the same thing again. These two fingers where boisai grab the two wings. But he's on the outside of my hand now. These two guys go between these two fingers. So now I have like this. So now the Gemara says, now I'm not so clear how this works. You pull this neck above two fingers. Maybe it means this and this. I'm not exactly sure. You get the neck to over here. And then with this finger, you're able to do Malika. Okay? Like this. Yeah? I'm grabbing the wings with this finger. I'm grabbing the Malika. That's one way. The other way would be to do it with one hand. Like this. Like this. You see? And then with my thumb, somehow I'm grabbing and I'm doing Malika. Now the Gemara says this is the hardest thing to do in the Beis Hamikdash. You hold the wings with your two fingers, and 2 feet with the two fingers. And you stretch out its neck on the width of 2 fingers, and then you do Malika. I showed you the way to do it, holding with the left, doing Malika with your right. But if you do it all with one hand, says Taisus, this is avoid the kosher of Hamikdash. It is very, very difficult. Says the Gemara Zui v'Suloi. What? That's the only thing that's difficult. If you grab, especially very baked goods that are already baked, sometimes you have to do it when it's baked, and you go like this, and you have to break it with your thumb and break it with your pinky and be exactly, and it should not come out of your finger at all. That's also very difficult. And also the chafina, they have to grab 2 handfuls. I did a whole demonstration. How you do it, you pour it with your mouth, the whole thing. Very hard. It's one of the very difficult things in the Beis Hamikdash. It's not the hardest. It's one of the tough ones. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.